Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Meet Your Inner Green Witch. Discover your wise, wild essence through the healing power of root, leaf, flower, and tree medicines. My name is Stephen Dinan, and I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network. And I'm really blessed to be with you here, getting to explore and do some fascinating terrain that's really at the interface between our inner evolution and our relationship with the natural world, and really being able to be in a deeper kind of rapport that helps be illuminating for us and ultimately healthier for our bodies and our world. So we're going to get to explore this concept of the Green Witch and how you can embody that with Robin Rose Bennett. She's a storyteller, she's a Green Witch herbalist, and she's the author of The Gift of Healing Herbs. So Robin Rose, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Stephen. I've really been looking forward to being here with you.
Great. Well, I'm excited to dive in. I know you've got a lot planned for us. And I also want to let everyone know up front that we're going to have a brand new program with Robin Rose called The Green Witch Path to Self-Discovery that we're going to share a little bit more about towards the end of the hour. So if you get sparked, there's more to come to dive into this path. So Robin Rose, why don't you begin our journey today with a little bit of your backstory? I love the term Green Witch. And so maybe your journey into claiming that for yourself and seeing that as an important path of self-discovery.
Yeah, happy to. I started really when I was a teenager. My mom got cancer and she began to explore mind, body, spirit connection to tend to her own healing. And she brought my dad along with her and she brought me along with her. So I was involved in spiritual studies for about 10 years before I began to study herbal medicine. And the spiritual work that I did was very much about the interconnected web of life. And it was beautiful. And yet I began to see over time that I was having these moments of highs and euphorias, but they weren't necessarily like daily, grounded, embodied, sustainable kind of sense of joy of being. And I was looking for answers to my own health problems. So that sort of brought me into herbal medicine in the first place. I went to my first herbalist, and then in the proverbial one thing leading to another, I found this path of the Green Witch, the wise woman way, the wise wild woman way, I call it now, which introduced me to something I had no idea about, which was that herbs weren't just kind of plants or even things in jars. They were beings, that they are our elders, that they are our teachers, our healers. And that opened up a world to me of kinship, a world of sustainable presence and joy. And, I never stopped. And one other thing I can add, just I think it's pretty interesting, is I was an herbalist in New York City for my first 10 years. They called me the Green Witch of Manhattan. And only then did I discover that my great grandmother Esther had been a renowned herbalist in the borough of Brooklyn, New York. So that was very thrilling to me to discover. And as I said, I haven't looked back because this Green Witch path has, it's brought together everything I care about, and it's centered in love, it's centered in kinship, it's centered in respect for the diversity of all life. And here I am to share.
What's a fascinating synchronicity with your ancestry there. And I love this pivot that you really talked about. So much of the way we often come to thinking about plants or herbs is a more mechanistic way. It's sort of like that, humans taking nature to sustain ourselves. But I wonder if you could share a little bit more about this pivot and how does it happen so that you move from that kind of more consumptive orientation to a kinship or allyship kind of perspective, which is really sounds like it's the foundation of being a Green Witch.
It absolutely is the foundation of being a Green Witch. And it primarily, yeah, I like how you put that too. It's sort of like, what have you done for me lately? Is the typical attitude we come to our healing substances with, right? As if they're things that are here just for us. And it really begins with slowing down, which I think so many of our practices do, right? We have to slow down to listen, whether we're listening to our inner voice or we're listening to a dandelion plant and what it has to tell us. But really, it was being introduced by one of my first teachers to even the idea, the concept of living in a conscious relationship and in rapport with plants, with the plant people. And, I began to explore it, and I found that it was valid, that it was true. And so that's why I stuck with it. And also, you know, I love to do bibliomancy, which is when you just open any book, you ask for a message and see what's there for you. And as part of answering your question, I want to share with you that I did that before we got on together. And the page that I opened to in a book I wrote called A Green Witch's Pocketbook of Wisdom, the page I opened to is, of all those 174 pages in the book, is plants are generous beings. Plants are generous beings. Plants provide the very air we breathe. They give us life. They also freely give us beauty, food, medicine, clothing, and shelter. Please sit with a plant today and offer your thanks.
I love that.
Thank you. That's how we pivot.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And so even just the concept of seeing them as generous beings rather than they have things that we need or want. It's like, oh, we're receiving from their abundance.
I believe that in every fiber of my being. They are so generous. They are caring. They also are mirrors for us of our own humanity in the oddest way. I know that sounds odd, I mean to say that, but one of the things that people discover when they are walking this green witch path, this path of kinship, and awakening to the magic, right? It's really about the magic of living nature, of Gaia herself, the planet. The plants, each one of them knows their place, right? We could be really like literal and say they know their place, right? They have roots in the earth in a particular place, but they also know who they are. And so one of the completely unexpected side effects that I've discovered, when I went in looking for answers to some health problems that conventional medicine couldn't help me with years and years ago, is that these plants, when I take them into myself, or even sometimes when I sit and do, kind of meditative writing with a plant or dream with a plant, these plants have helped me learn who I am. And now I can say, having, taught for over 30 years and met with clients and so on, it's not just me. They do this for anyone who asks them with a humble heart and an open mind. They really help you discover who you are. And that is the essence of inner peace, right? To have a sense of who you are. And it doesn't mean you must do this or you must be that, right? But it's, who are you? What makes your heart sing? What's your passions? Whether you're doing that for your money or you're doing it in some other way in your life, that's what gives us sense of purpose. And really the peace and the purpose, along with kinship, is so essential anytime, but especially now, right? When we can't look at any of our individual healing separate from the larger context of the time that we're in, right? This matrix of chaotic evolution that I believe, probably you believe, I'm guessing, we came here to be part of this. We came here now to be part of the solution, and we need help. We need all the help that we can possibly get. And the plants are a path of that truly helps. It's I'm not interested in spirituality and philosophy that isn't real, right? And this is the other thing about the plant path, the green witch path, that I love so much, is you can test everything, not as a cynic, but as as a discerning thinker. You can feel and see results for yourself. So that's what I like to teach people how to do.
I love your descriptions, and it really is at the heart of what Shift Network's all about. And I'd love for you to just explain a little bit more about the connection to witch. You know, since witch has a lot of history and
Yeah.
connections, and so what aspects of that do you feel like are that you really want to sort of fully integrate and embrace, and which parts are sort of cultural relics to let go of?
Well, there's a lot of cultural relics to let go for sure, and a lot of goofy stuff and a lot of, fun stuff too. But, the most important piece probably is about the mad, crazy idea that witch being a witch or working craft has to do with manipulation, with
Mm.
power over, with domination. The whole idea of witches being bad, right? This didn't just happen by accident, right? But this could be more than our whole hour that we have together to talk about how, how herbalists, healers, midwives, witches were vilified, right? And so that is part of the baggage that we still have with us now. So, what I say to that, I'll just speak for how I see green witchery, right? Because anything as it comes through the person who is practicing it, but it is so much about relationship. It's so much about respectful relationship, reciprocal blessing. The green witch is one who knows the plants are listening, right? So yes, I'm an herbalist, but I'm a green witch herbalist because I'm coming to that plant that I'm going to gather for. Maybe I'm gathering for you, Stephen. You have a headache or something. You ask me to bring you a medicine. I'm going to talk to that plant and say, this is for Stephen. Help me help him. How shall we prepare you? Right. So there's entering into the magic of our relationship with our more than human kin. Right. So to me, that's the magic. If you have a relationship with a plant, it can do things, it will do things for you that you won't read in any book. A green witch is one who will work to co-create consciously, right, with nature, with the plants. Gardeners do it too, right? See, I think a green witch is really a way of being more than a particular kind of identity. It's a way of being in magical cahoots, right, with the natural world, right, with the natural world. And it's joyful. It's an antidote to feeling alone, isolated, all of these things that plague us today.
Yes, absolutely. And magical cahoots is my new favorite phrase here with the natural
Okay.
world. Obviously, it's a big paradigm shift to sort of come over to this perspective. And how do you start to open up to this more reciprocal communication, flow of
Yeah.
intelligence with the plant
But
kingdom?
the thing is, it couldn't be easier. That's the good news, is it could not be easier. You can walk outside your door and just kind of take a walk without your iPod on, right? And where does your body, like which tree do you just kind of feel your body gets drawn to, or which plant or flower is kind of like making you stop and notice it, right? You start like just that, engaging your senses, right? Because a lot of the reason, and the reason why I also say it's easier than you think, is because this is so natural to us. Whereas the cutoff from our kinship and sense of knowing that the trees are listening, the plants are listening, is very new, relatively speaking, in our like evolution, in our biology. It's relatively new. And it took a lot of work to get us to shut off listening to other forms of life. Listening to the winds, listening to the animals, listening to the plants. I have so many funny stories. Like it can be outrageous. Like a woman who was allying with the pine plant. I think I'm wearing a little piece of pine here in my hair. Pine is a tree of peace to the indigenous people of the Northeast, where I live, Northeast, US. She was working with pine as her teacher, and she was kind of resistant and wasn't sure like, do I really, can I feel plants? What, all those kind of things our left brain, modern mind does. And she was like swimming in the middle of the ocean, thinking about something she was really riled up about. And all of a sudden, in the ocean next to her, there was a pine branch floating by. And she said, oh, wow. So I think things like that are, that kind of synchronicity is a form of magic. It's a form of, the world talking to us. Right.
Love that story. That's great. Well, do you want to take us in the direction of how might you create magical blends in cahoots with the plant kingdom, approaching sort of herbalism from this different lens?
Yeah. So like one of the things, obviously, right, we can drink tea, right? We'll do a lot of that in our course, but for today, what I thought I would do is introduce a particular smoke blend that I made, right? Because all over the world in all kinds of traditions, people burn herbs as a way of praying, as a way of tuning in, right, to their own inner voice or the voice of spirit, whatever you call divinity, right? Green witches tend to call her the goddess, but it's a name. So in terms of herbs and this smoke blend that I wanted to share, I call it Sacred Moments Herbal Smoke. And I wanted to show you what goes into it. So I went into my herbal cabinet to pull out the herbs. So this is an herb called mullein. And if you who are watching and listening could touch it, you would know why it has the nickname velvet dock, because it's very velvety to the touch, and dock is an old word for big leaf. So it's a big leaf, velvety plant. So mullein is the first herb that's in the smoke blend. I'll tell you all of them and then I'll describe them. So it's mullein, coltsfoot, mugwort, and lavender is in the Sacred Moments Herbal Smoke Blend. Okay. And one of the things that all the herbs in the smoke blend happen to also be is good for our lungs and bronchia. So interesting, right? They're the herbs that we can smoke for vision can also be herbs we can drink or smoke to help with asthma, to help with coughs, to help with any kind of respiratory condition. I know that goes against the thinking, right? But it's nonetheless true. So mullein dilates bronchia, is really famous as a lung herb. And then the next one in my recipe, so this is one part mullein, half part coltsfoot, quarter part artemisia, which is mugwort, and a pinch of lavender for the taste and for the calming quality. I have to look at notes for my recipes because I really honestly never make anything the same way twice. It's the same way I cook is the way I make my recipes. But when I write them down for you, I test them. And so that's the recipe for this. So half part is coltsfoot leaf. This too is a weed. Weeds are, that's another green witch thing, Stephen, it's in the fancier way to put it is bioregionalism, right? Which is working with what's local to you. And there's a lot of great reasons environmentally for that, and also spiritually to connect with what's growing outside your door. But I work with the weeds so much because they're abundant, they're common, they're freely giving themselves, and I don't have to find and source scarce plants, right? I want to be easy on this beautiful earth. So here's my coltsfoot. And once again, I'm just showing you a little thread. You can see plants that are good for the lungs and the respiratory system, where we have all those little cilia, all those little hairs, they tend to be furry. So in coltsfoot, the fur is on the back. This gray, it feels like felt. The front is smooth. This plant's Latin name, Tussilaga farfara, means cough, go far, far away. Again, we're going to use it in a sacred smoked blend, but it can also be used for cough. Then there is the 1/4 part, and that is one of my all-time favorite herbs. This is Artemisia vulgaris, mugwort. In the Green Witch tradition, we often call her cronewort to bring back honoring the wisdom of the grandmothers, right? Like my great-grandmother, Esther, the herbalist. So this is the flowering tops of a stalk that was about 5-6 feet tall. And when Artemisia vulgaris, mugwort / cronewort, all the same plant, when this one is in flower, she's said to be at her most magical in terms of the thing this herb is famous for is for dream recall, stirring dreams and helping you recall them. In the smoke blend, what I'm thinking about is for the what I call the first eye, right? It helps open this third or first, as I call it, eye. So here we have all of those herbs. I just have a little baggie of lavender here. I know you know what lavender looks like. And then when you're making a smoke blend, what you do is brush up, right? Rub the herbs together. They must be dried if you're going to light them, or they won't light. That's just the practicality of it. And what you want to end up with is like a little, powdery blend. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's what you would either put into your, a fireproof shell of some kind. This is an abalone shell, very popular for burning herbs in. It could be rolled up, right, in paper. Or for today, what I decided to do was to bring in a beautiful goddess pipe. And I put a pinch of this blend, the Sacred Moments Herbal Smoke Blend, into the pipe. And what I'd like to invite you, Stephen, and you who are with us, I'd like to invite you to, you can put your own prayer, because this is what smoke has always been used for, right? The physicality of the plant, the fire, right, that lights it, the air that makes it burn, right? And then so we have the earth, air, the fire. Here, the pipe is kind of the male and the female, right? Parts of the pipe. And then what we do with smoke is we are turning, it's sort of like a link between the worlds of form and the invisible, right? So as the smoke goes out, consider the smoke is going out to spirit. So what I wanted to put into this pipe and smoke for you is my prayer that each of you deepens your own connectedness to this earth and to nature in general and to the plants for your own well-being, and because that well-being then ripples out to all of us. So I'm going to smoke that prayer for you. Waft it out to you wherever you are and in whatever way feels authentic to you. Breathe it in. Take it deep. Bring it in. Bring it home. Because it is a path. This Green Witch path is a path to coming home to yourself, coming home to your authentic, multidimensional self. So that is a smoke blend and a smoke ritual. I hope you enjoyed it.
I love that. And you maybe can share a little bit more about sort of the inner side of that, preparation and the smoking is just like, how's that shifting your relationship with the plants while you're doing that?
I'm asking them to be an intermediary for us. I'd like to be an ambassador, almost, if you will, to the world of spirit, right? To fulfill my prayers, our blessings, right? You could smoke in a gratitude ceremony. You could smoke to link a group together, right? It's always been a sacred act. And so plant-wise, what plants you put in could make a big difference. For example, maybe if I was smoking, again, in a dish, in a pipe, in paper, however you would, or even people love to make sticks, right? Smudge sticks like this. This is Artemisia mugwort in a stick form, right? I might use this cedar to also have, I might use this cedar to help if there was a ceremony where we were meeting to bring healing to a place or person who had been violated. right? So we might be burning this grandmother plant, grandmother cedar over, over and wafting it to the Mideast or wafting it to Ukraine or wafting it to a person who had just been, hurt. And like maybe something like the Artemisia, the mugwort, might be used with gratitude for doing some moon work, right? For tuning to the cycles of the moon. This is considered a lunar plant, right? So all of the work with the plants in this way, in this magical way, does is it also helps us place ourselves into the cycles, right, of the sun and the moon. Like the plants are guided by the cycles of light and dark and rain and sun. And we might live on the 39th floor of a high rise in, wherever. But those aspects of reality are still essential to us. And the thing that I've seen is that the more people reclaim their place within the cycles of nature, it helps to hold center during all of the drama of the day and helps us to make better choices about where's my energy, what's my part to play in this. Maybe my part is to raise this beautiful girl and boy and my family. Maybe my energy is to create public gardens. Maybe mine is to start the shift network, right? There's not a one right thing, but each of us kind of longs to have that sense of what comes out of the truth of my being. And working with the moon is something I've done for as long as I've worked with the plants. And it's truly transformational. And this is a plant really connected to that work that guides you to your inner psyche, just like you could think of the moon being the inner rhythms, like the sun is the outer rhythms, right? The moon is the inner rhythms. One example is that the moon guides us all to shine bright at some times and to go dark at others, right? The moon, if we pay attention, teaches us to refill, right? The plants teach us this. The perennials, right? They go down under the ground, they rest. So these plants and rituals with nature, simple things, they bring us back to reality. And that is a life-saving thing right now. That is a psyche-saving thing and a life-saving thing. And all of this work awakens our intuition, which is definitely a big piece of green witchery, right? It's not an anti-science in any way. I know total science nerd green witches. It is a both and. And of course, we all know, right, that this has been kind of, blasted out of us, right? What do you know? Don't trust, that's magical. It makes me crazy that magical thinking is a diagnosis, because real magical thinking, not the diagnosis, but real magical thinking is the awareness that you are a co-creator, right? You don't create on your own, but each of us is a co-creator of reality with our thoughts, our actions, our sense of relationship. Yeah, we're all a part of what's being created every moment.
So much wisdom in what you're sharing. And Robin, would you love to take us into the guided process you wanted to lead us on today?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, because whatever someone tells you is one thing, but until you experience it for yourself, it's a pretty idea, right? Or a compelling notion. But once you experience something, nobody can take that away from you. So what I'd like to do is guide you into a meditation, into a place I call your sacred cave of inner wisdom, to meet with your own inner green witch. And I will invite you in a moment to close your eyes. Also, though, if you're not wanting to do that for any reason whatsoever, we're going to put a beautiful slide up on the screen now that you can gaze at instead if you prefer that. Take a deep breath, nice, easy breath, and give thanks for that breath flowing in And on the exhalation, anything your mind may be busy with, just let it breathe out. Breathing in, breathing out, bringing yourself to a quiet place, relaxing your body. And now I'd like you to imagine that there is a spiral path that goes up and down the center of yourself. It goes up higher than you can imagine and deeper down than you can imagine. But for right now, we're going to spiral it down, down to your own sacred cave of inner wisdom. So I invite you to step onto this spiral path, which can be made of anything. It can be made of water. It can be made of light. It could be stone steps. It can be tree roots. It's your path. So begin to spiral down and around and inward, and down and around and inward, and down and around and inward, traveling in perfect love and perfect trust. Imagine that we are all inside a sacred circle together through the magic of the Zoom portal, down and around and in. And when you find yourself coming to slow down and stop, I want to invite you to step off of the spiral wherever you have found yourself. And you will find yourself at an entrance to your own sacred cave. There may be a guardian at the opening, animal, I don't know, a door, a beaded curtain, whatever is there, it is your sacred space. So do whatever it is that you do to enter into it now. And as you enter into this sacred cave within yourself, there is a feeling of coming home. And so walking into this sacred space, just allow yourself to take it in whatever way you do, whether it's smelling the smells or touching the walls of your cave. Maybe there's crystals or plants coming out of the walls. Maybe it's sounds you hear or silence you hear. What do you feel under your feet? And just home. And as you come deeper in to this sacred cave of inner wisdom, I invite you to become aware of a presence who lives in this space inside of you. This presence is one who connects you deep into the heart and soul and womb of the earth herself. I call her your inner green witch. She may appear to you as a wise woman or as anything else, but this inner green witch is your guide into your reconnection with the heart of nature, the heart of the earth. And so in whatever way is authentic for you, come together with her, whether you look at one another, whether you lay your head in her lap, whatever it is. Maybe you just feel a presence and don't even see someone. But breathe in that connection, that caring, that love, because it is there for you. That compassion. It gets so lonely to feel disconnected from nature, the heart of who you are. For you and the earth are one. And let yourself receive. Just open to receive whatever's here for you, and perhaps even ask if she or they or it has a particular message for you in this very moment. And receive it and take it to you like the precious gift that it is. And maybe you touch one another and feel your connection. And know that this wise green witch lives inside of you always. And you can visit her or them again. But now it's time to come back up and out. So do whatever you need to bring this moment to completion. Maybe you even find you have a gift that magically appears in your hand or your pocket that you give as a thank you. And she may give you a seed. And if so, you decide if you want to plant it in this place or bring it up with you or eat it or whatever you do with it. But the seed of a new beginning. And so saying your goodbyes now, it's time to walk back out, retrace your steps, come out the same way you came in, take your time. Every time your foot connects with the earth in this place or the water or the sand or whatever you're walking on, it's like a shared kiss, step by step by step, until you come to the place where you entered. And then it's time to have that be the exit. And so coming out of your sacred cave within, there's your spiral path. And in perfect love and perfect trust, I invite you to step back onto the spiral and find that because gravity doesn't work quite the same way here, you effortlessly begin to spiral up and around and up and around and up and around, coming up from the deeps, back up to the surface, back up to your body, spiraling up and around and up and around and outward, spiraling, 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 coming up until it's as if you feel your essence coming up through the bottoms of your feet and entering into your whole body, spiraling beautifully through every cell and space of your body, from the bottoms of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. And it's as if there's even more of you than went down the spiral, and feeling yourself fill up from the center, out to your front and back, out to your sides, filling yourself up with yourself. Filling yourself up with yourself until you're completely here, completely present in this moment, wherever your body is sitting or lying. And of course, your physical self can't fully contain all that you are. So you might even sense or feel your own sparkling aura outside your physical self, but you're embodied, which is the only place to be. So as you come back at your own pace, I'd like to invite you to take a moment, a minute or two, perhaps, to write down any key words from your experience, from your journey, from your meeting with your inner green witch that you might like to kind of explore later. All right, but just write down some things that will help you remember. Sometimes even one word can really make a difference. You think you'll remember and you don't, or you think nothing happened and it did. So anything at all, I invite you to take a minute now to do that. And as you do, I'm just going to quietly sing you a little chant that I wrote that I love to sing to the elements that we're all made of. Earth, air, fire, and water, we're your sons and daughters, below, above, and the center. Mother Nature, you're our mentor. From below and from above, infuse us through and through with love. Help us walk in joy our whole lives through, in sacred harmony with you. Blessed be.
Beautiful, Robin. I can really feel the truth in what you're sharing of like this shift in relationship with the plant kingdom to one of allyship and kinship is really at the heart of how we heal the world. I can really feel like how much assistance and intelligence is just waiting to be unleashed when we do that.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think now would be a good time to talk a little bit more about how people can go further with you on this path of becoming a green witch and really learn how to walk this way. We're really blessed that Robin Rose has created a brand new program for us. It's called the Green Witch Path to Self-Discovery. Unearth your essence by working with the healing power of root, leaf, flower, and tree medicines. You can find it laid out in detail at greenwitchherbalhealing.com, greenwitchherbalhealing.com. It's a 7-week program, and it's really open to whoever feels called. There's no prerequisites in terms of practice or understanding. Robin Rose is going to lay the foundations for this deep shift of relationship that then invigorates how you relate with the whole plant kingdom and be able to partner and collaborate and create this co-creative alchemy that really is at the heart of the healing that we all need. So Robin Rose, I'd love for you to share a little bit sort of on the big picture level, what's your intention for the program for people to come out with, and then I'll read out the module titles so you give us a preview of what's coming in each.
My intention again is to awaken this inner knowing place inside each person who is there, the inner knowing of who you are and of the absolute bond of you with the plants, and that you are part of nature. The entelechy of an acorn is to become an oak tree, and we each have an inner blueprint as well. So it's to awaken that inner blueprint. And I find that this work is appropriate for people who have even been on this path for a long time, because then it simply helps give different perspectives and to go deeper. You know, it's going to be very specific to the time that the course is in, because we're going to move, from spring equinox at the end, near the end of March, all the way into the flowering season.
So module 1 is called Harness the Invigorating Essence of Spring's Rejuvenating Power to Revitalize Your Spirit.
Yeah. So what I want to do the first night with you all is to really introduce more about what is the philosophy of wise wild woman healing. What is this green witch path? What is the understanding? And I'll just give you one example to give you an idea, right? It's so the body is always oriented to heal. So we use plants not to take over functions, but to support that which needs support in order for you to heal yourself. So we'll be talking about that. What is the thinking behind the way that I use plants for healing? And we will have this beautiful spring equinox ritual to find the seed of what is ready to be born in you in this time. And we'll also do a little bit more about smoking herbs, and also a little context for why ritual, what's important about ritual, how does it enhance our lives when it's meaningful ritual. And every class you'll have something to do. Every single class, you'll have the option of something you can do along with me. So I just wanted to say that. I like to make it experiential, even though we're on Zoom.
I love that. Module 2 is called Master the Art of Herbal Alchemy for Unparalleled Self-Sufficiency and Healing Potency.
So many times I meet with people who feel really trapped. They don't want to do a particular medical thing that's been advised, but they don't know what else to do instead. So one of the things I've learned is that how we prepare the herbs makes a really big difference in how effective they are. So I want to do like a tutorial that second night of all the different ways that you can prepare your medicine, but that are doable, not like crazy hard and complicated, because then you won't do it. How do I know that? Because then I wouldn't do it either. Right. So it's how do we work with the herbs so that they can give us what they have to give us? I'll share some herbal vocabulary as well, so that if you're reading along in books as we talk about plants in the course, you don't feel intimidated by not knowing what, an analgesic is or a whatever. So vocabulary, herbal preparations, basic supplies that might be helpful for you to have in your herbal kitchen.
Module 3, Fortify Your Organs and Systems with the Power of Earth's Depths.
So that night is, subtitle, Let's Get Down with Roots. So the roots are so helpful to us in centering and deepening, but also they have a lot of specific medicine for the digestive system, the liver, kidneys. So we'll talk about root medicines, how to prepare them, what they can help us with. And like every other night, it'll be both the physical and the magical, or to me, magical and spiritual are, synonymous.
Module 4, elevate your well-being and nourish your body with the healing magic of leaf medicine.
Yeah, so leaf medicine, and each class will, by the way, each of these modules will focus on specific plants, which you'll know about beforehand because you'll get, you'll get a list of what we'll be covering. But the leaf medicine is the most probably basically important everyday medicine to learn about the nourishing qualities, because one of the tenets of working this way is healing through nourishment. Healing through nourishment, whether you're nourishing the body system that helps you to detoxify stuff you can't use and need to let go, or you're nourishing the system that will help you to breathe or be more, flexible in your joints. So we'll be looking at leaf medicine and doing a preparation together of making a nettle leaf infusion.
Module 5, blossom into radiant health with flower remedies.
Yeah, well, most people love flowers to one extent or another, right? And so I'll be talking about some of my favorite flower medicines for spiritual health, for physical health, whether we're talking about taking baths with flowers, flower infusions, pain relief from flower medicine, different kinds of ways to use them as oils, and when I say oils, I mean infused oils that you can make at home, oils, teas, baths, and the celebration that flowers, the beauty of flowers brings to us when we take them into ourselves.
Module 6, embrace the mystical gifts of your forest guardians for personal healing and spiritual connection.
Yeah, tree medicine. Tree medicine. We'll just be talking about different trees and what they offer us, and how being chosen by or choosing a particular tree as to be a guardian for you is a wonderful thing. And so I'm going to do a meditation to help people to find their tree guardian.
And finally, ignite the ecstasy of life with a transformative Beltane ritual.
Well, yeah, who doesn't want to do that? Ignite the ecstasy of life. Joy is medicine. I learned that from an oak tree, and I've been exploring it ever since. It's true. It's true. So the Beltane is the time of flowering. It's that May Day, and we'll be doing kind of like a little playful, sensual exercise. We'll be every night we'll drink a tea, but that night we'll drink a sexy tea, and we'll have our closing ritual. And my intention and hope is that whatever seed was discovered and planted at that spring equinox is now flowering, and you will know what's flowering in you at that time because you'll be the one experiencing it. And I loved doing the last shift class, and Stephen, you would have no way to know this, I'm just going to tell you, is I have met numerous people like at live events since I did that. I said, I know you from the shift class. I came to yours. So that's always really fun. And so if any of you are listening, I just want to tell you this class is going to be completely different than the last one. So I hope you would consider coming again.
That's great. I love just running into people like that too, and feeling the impact in people's lives. So it's really wonderful how much transformation can happen in these online programs. So the whole program is laid out at the URL greenwitchherbalhealing.com. So we've already covered a little bit of the high level and the modules, but there's more to the program too. You're going to get not only those 7 90-minute live sessions with Robin Rose, you're going to have time to ask your questions. You're going to get recordings, video and audio of every session, as well as word-for-word transcripts, which are helpful to go back and study. There's also weekly exercises for inquiry, a Facebook community. And as Robin Rose mentioned, there's lots of things you can do at home. There's small group time to connect with other participants. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses to enhance your journey. There's an audio teaching from Robin Rose called Journey with Sassafras for Love, Light, and Herbal Healing. Want to share a little bit about that bonus?
The sassafras tree is a very uplifting tree. And so that was I made a meditation to help people to meet sassafras, feel sassafras's energy. Yeah, experience that plant the same way they would if they were outside sitting with that tree, sharing breath and learning from sassafras.
So that's just one bonus, enhances your journey. There's also another from a video teaching from Robin Rose from the Illuminated Herbalism Summit that's called The Art of Herbal Medicine Making. And there's also a special bonus that you get if you sign up right away by midnight Pacific time. This is exploring infused oils for longevity, hair health, and connection to nature. This is a dialogue between Robin Rose and her apprentice, Freedom Flowers. You want to share a little bit about that?
She was here working and she was asking me some questions. I said, you know what, stop. Let's make this into a video because your questions are ones everyone will have. It was such a great conversation about how herbs can help with hair loss, whether from, as she was experiencing it as a side effect of COVID, or people can lose hair for other reasons, hormonal shifts, stresses, certain illnesses. And then we went into some depth where I was helping her with how to make high quality infused herbal oils. So like the medicine making class, there's just a lot of info shared in those conversations. One of the things about the sassafras that I didn't say is that also then you have a template for meeting with any tree, any plant, right? Which that is also one of the gifts of that particular meditation, is then you have a model for how to do it yourself with another plant and another plant.
Well, it's truly going to be an amazing program, and you can find all the details at greenwitchherbalhealing.com. We've kept the investment for this program really accessible. It's 3 payments of $128, or you can save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start on March 21st and run Thursdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full time value with the transcripts and the community and the recordings as well, since a lot of this is really about just taking the information in and putting it into practice in your life. So there's some great testimonials on the page. You'll see Robin Rose's insight, knowledge, and intuitive connection is remarkable. I walked away with skills I will use for the rest of my life. A beautiful, holistic deep dive. There's lots of great testimonials from people who participated in Robin Rose's last program. And as she said, this is a brand new program, and there's going to be fresh content and lots of insights and a great community of collaboration. And you can get it all at greenwitchherbalhealing.com, and you'll get that special bonus on the infused oils for longevity, hair health, and a connection to nature when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. So Robin Rose, what a great, beautiful hour with you. So anything is still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering joining you for this dive into the path of the Green Witch?
I hope that you come and join us, because every one of us matters like so much, and together is how we will turn things around. And we can't do it without the plants, and we can't do it without each other. So if you are drawn, if you resonate with what I've been sharing, I hope you'll come. I think you will be glad you did.
Well, thank you for the beautiful introduction to this the Green Witch path of self-discovery today. Thank you for all your deep commitment to this path of discovery and healing. And thank you all for joining. And if you'd like to go further with Robin Rose, you can do so at greenwitchherbalhealing.com, and you'll get that special bonus when you sign up by midnight tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Many blessings.
Green blessings, everyone.
you.